Reddit, what is the most thanks gift that you've ever received during the holidays? My parents found the Amazon wishlist of someone with the same name as me but not me, thought it was a bunch of weird items, decided to not check in with me or any other family member to see if they had the right list, and that's how I, as 24-year-old male, got a maternity body pillow for Christmas. Yeah, but now you have an awesome pillow. The same crock pot 3 years in a row from my ex-husband's mother. His new wife was gifted one last year. I'm certain that this woman has a pallet of crockpots stashed somewhere in her house. My ex-mil gave me the same ugly pink shirt and the wrong size the last 2 Christmases. I had to tolerate her. I never wear pink, and both times, the shirt was literally twice as big as it needed to be. My grandparents had a tradition wherein they would give a new Christmas ornament to each grandkid every year. One year, I think I was about 5, my great-grandma gave me the most beautiful ornament. It was elegant and tasteful, and way too pretty for a kindergartner. Everyone in my family was like, "Where did she get that? She hasn't been able to get out to shop yet." Turns out, she stole it all discreet like off the nursing home's Christmas tree. Great-grandma passed in 1989. My mom still has that thing, and we still laugh about it to this day. I love this story. My grandma passed a few months ago and she would make me an ornament each year. I'm sad that I won't be getting one this year, but I'm glad I still have them to remember the tradition. My brother, maybe 11 at the time, took the wrapping paper off his gift from our grandmother. It was in a tape dispenser box. Cue everyone laughing. Ha 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 ha. You got a tape dispenser. We got pretty quiet when it turned out to be a tape dispenser. This only has me feeling sad for Gram. Lesbian Christmas. My parents thought I was a lesbian and wanted to be supportive. They gave me pink triangle earrings and poetry books by lesbians. I'm not gay. Oh girl. I had to come out of the closet as straight to my parents too. My sister bought me a CD she really wanted for herself. When I opened it, she said, "If you don't like it, I'll just take it." I didn't like it. I kept it. Frick her. My dad used to buy me CDs with the knowledge that I'd transfer the music to my iPod and then not need the physical CD, so he could have it in his car. Perfect system. The very first holiday after my wedding, my mill sent my wife and I, each, separately, the same self-help book on how to survive living with an abusive spouse. Not how to divorce or anything, but how to live in the relationship with an abusive spouse. Not just to her, not just to me, to both of us. 2 copies of the book, are just normal. I was a step-grandchild and my grandmother sold Avon to feed her QVC addiction. So while the other 6 grandchildren got real leather jackets, diamond jewelry, motocross lessons and 1 year, an actual motocross bike, I got plastic Avon jewelry. For reasons too long to list here, I got placed with my grandparents 2 weeks before Christmas when I was 16. I watched everyone open up their gifts and then one aunt gave me a Walmart bag with some socks in it. Another one told me I should be grateful that the family was taking me in instead of leaving me on the street, and that was my present. 7 aunts and uncles and their spouses, along with my grandparents. And that's how they treated me in a situation that was out of my control. Needless to say, I don't talk to my family anymore. I'm sorry these people were complete shitbags to you in a vulnerable time. No way to treat a kid or teenager going through a tough family situation. Glad you went NC. I used to be a little standoffish at work because I'm shy, sitting on my phone instead of socializing with coworkers. For the Secret Santa I got my guy a nice bottle of bourbon because I knew that was something he'd like. I in turn got a book about how sitting on your phone too much makes you an butthole. That's either someone being a dong or someone taking a risk not realizing there's the risk of the person in question not liking their joke. When I was around 22, my mum somehow figured out I had a secret crush on Mark Wahlberg. All I got for Christmas that year were Mark Wahlberg DVDs. From everyone, in various boxes and wrappings. Like so many Mark Wahlberg DVDs, I stopped saying thanks after probably the 5th one. Your family sounds like a funky bunch. I've been a vegetarian for 20 years now. Last Christmas, my aunt gave me a barbecue cookbook and told me it was because men won't date a woman who doesn't know how to cook them steak. Joke's on you, Auntie Lisa. I'm not single because I'm vegetarian. I'm single because I have a crap personality. Please tell me you told her the gift was a mistake. A good steak pun is a rare medium well done. When I was 18, my boyfriend's mom got me an Elmo Live toy. I thought it was a gag gift, but it wasn't. My boyfriend got angry when I told him that no, I did not love it. I didn't say that to his mom though. She was genuinely a very sweet woman. My boyfriend got angry when I told him that no, I did not love it. This part is weirder than the gift itself. When I had my daughter, my grandmother arbitrarily decided that I was going to collect nutcrackers. Every year, she gives us a new one. So now I have 13 creepy 1.5 featuring tall wooden men of various types in my living room for the whole of December. I hate them and fully believe that one day they will rise up and murder me in my sleep. A hot pink sweater that was literally covered in sparkles with a little bow on it. I was 17 and had to pretend to like it so I didn't hurt my aunt's feelings lol. When I was 12, I asked my mom for a pair of Converse. Instead of going for the basic ones, she got these checkered pink red blue ones that were just so horribly ugly. I pretended to like them but then asked my mom later if we could exchange them. We did, although I still feel kind of bad. A few years ago, my in-laws handed out their gifts to my wife, me and my wife's sister and her then boyfriend. I opened my gift and it was a very large jar container of Cajun seasoning. It was like the size you would get at Costco, seriously large. I was sort of confused because they gave their other daughter's boyfriend 3-4 t-shirts, a hat and a jacket from his favorite sports team, along with a gift card to a store he likes. And all they could come up with for me was a seriously huge jar of cooking seasoning. My father-in-law said he knew I like to cook. I don't like to cook at all, and I got the impression they just forgot to buy me anything or couldn't be bothered to come up with anything better. I really don't mind getting a weird gift, or even no gift at all, but it hurts when it's so clearly obvious they didn't care enough to put even a modicum of thought into it, while at the same time see them buy such thoughtful gifts for their other daughter's boyfriend when I've been their son-in-law for 5 years at that point. I put the seasoning in their pantry before we left to go home. That really hammers home the way you were feeling at the time. Makes me sad just thinking about it. My dad gifted me his old phone when he upgraded. I guess it could have been an okay gift as I had an older phone that I wanted to upgrade, but I just wasn't in a hurry or prioritizing buying a new phone. But it was the same dang phone I had and his was more beat up than mine lol. I was also 30 with the clear ability to upgrade if I wanted. My uncle gave me a hat once back in my low to mid teens. It wasn't an awful hat, but certainly not one I would ever wear. I felt really bad laughing at it, thinking it was a gag gift, since it clearly made my uncle sad. He has only given me gift cards since. It was years ago, but it still makes me feel awful. My family always did the post office Christmas gift donation thing. You know, the one where you get a kid's age and gender to buy them gifts. Well, even on Social Security my dad would give us the choice to do it even if it meant us getting less. I loved it, always looked forward to it. My mom remarries and her new husband thinks it's a great idea to sign us up to receive gifts from the program. I never felt so ashamed. I felt so guilty BC I was taking someone's Christmas, I guess. I kept asking mom if we were gonna do it that year, and when she finally drives us to the post office I got excited to pick out a name. She drives to the back and instead picks up 3 bags of presents. 3 for 2 kids. I was mortified. When I finally opened the presents they acted like they got them for us. I couldn't be ungrateful however, because the people who got me my presents went all out. A really warm coat and soft aft blanket. Art supplies. Really nice ones. That helped me get over myself, but I still felt crappy. A queen-sized top sheet, like for your bed. There was no fitted sheet to go with it and I did not have queen-sized bed. It could be awesome though. We have a king-size blanket for our queen-size bed, since my partner likes to burrito herself when she sleeps. So my family makes this our theme. Instead of Merry Christmas, we have Happy Crappy Christmas. Basically, instead of spending hundreds of dollars on gifts we don't know if the other person will like, we just buy dollar store and wish gifts that we are fairly certain the recipient will not like. but will laugh at the idea of it. Last year, I think my sister won when she bought us cheap Chinese anal bleaching kits. My dad's contribution to Christmas every year is to give everyone a cheap dollar store gun of some sort, ping pong ball gun, dart gun, etc. And we have a massive gunfight until they're all broken. Usually takes about an hour for every last one to break, but it's a pretty good tradition that costs next to nothing. My sister always buys me joke gifts. The coolest one was a Chinese bootleg Thomas the Tank Engine Voltron. The most WTF one was a gourd. My wife still receives a little kid's coloring book and crayons every year from her one grandpa and his wife for Christmas. She made the mistake of telling him that she liked to color when she was 8. When adult coloring books became a thing, I kind of got into it for stress relief. I made the mistake of telling people about it and ended up with like 6 coloring books one Christmas. The pages are so detailed, it takes at least an hour to do one. It may sound dumb, but I was so overwhelmed, I stopped coloring. A year ago my mom got me a small, novelty size butter churn for Christmas. It's not pretty, not an art piece, and has no decorative value. The same year she got my younger brother a Nintendo Switch and Breath of the Wild. One time my aunt was on the wrong combination of medicines. Yes, she did eventually correct it, and she gave my brother and I gift bags that had a single clementine and 2 unsharpened pencils. Sounds close to what I get from one of my grandmas, but in her case it's because she has little income and likes to get gifts for most everyone. My cousins and I get a goodie bag from her for a holiday or something similar. We always get an unsharpened pencil, and at this point it's kinda just her thing now, so I like getting them. First Christmas my girlfriend, now wife, and I spent with my parents, opening gifts in my living room, and my mom gave me a vibrating dong ring as a stocking stuffer. Please say it was a gag gift. When I was 14 or 15 I told my mom that I really liked Andes mints. Every year since then I get Andes mints. I stopped being crazy about them when I was like 20 or so. I had a stack of several years boxes going until I finally made husband take it to work to give away. Similar with me except marshmallow peeps. Every Easter is get showered in peeps from my mom even as a grown man. I freaking hate those things now. My brother bought me a body condom and labeled it to the biggest dong in the world. I got him a sweet clock that had backwards numbers and turned counterclockwise. We didn't really get along back then. Snowshovel from grandparents for my 13th birthday. They said I could use it to make $sign and buy whatever I wanted. They weren't wrong. I'm not at all religious, and once my father gave me a 18 inches tall statue of Jesus. I forgot it in a box in a storage room in his basement when I left. Well, excuse him for trying to sneak you into heaven. Last year I went through a pretty crappy breakup that kept being dragged through me and my ex being off and on for a while. I started to feel better around Christmas time, but still woke up Christmas morning and opened my stocking to find that Santa, my mum, had gifted me a mold your own boyfriend kit out of clay. Wasn't sure whether to laugh or cry. I did spend a nice evening molding an absolute stud though. My dad gave me an air compressor. It was the size of a mini fridge, about waist high, the kind you might have in your garage. Except I didn't have a garage, because I was living in an apartment, and I had nowhere to put it. I have moved since then, but I still don't have a garage or anywhere to put the thing. So it's sitting, unopened, in my friend's garage until I can find a better use for it. It might be time to sell it. Clowns. Every year a new clown. Try to tell my abuelito I don't like clowns. They are weird. Get a new clown figurine, doll, lamp, picture, or whatever every year for Christmas and birthday. I have boxes of clowns. Thankfully sometime in my mid-20s my father managed to divert him to kittens. But that was only after 4 awkward years when he decided I loved cows. I don't love cows either. On the bright side, since I kept them all on my dresser growing up, I was never afraid of clowns. They're just background noise to me. I could probably walk into one in a dark alley and just be all oh, it's just one more dang clown. My mother tries to start new collections for family members that they do not want. She's trying so hard to make sure that we remember her when she's gone. It's like she's trying to conjure sentimentality. She also tries to give us new hobbies we don't want. My in-laws, parents and siblings, all got me pajamas. The issue was when I opened the first set they said, "Since you sleep so much, WTF." My grandma decided it was a good idea to gift my sister and my cousin, also a girl, matching thongs last year for Christmas. The problem being that my cousin was 7 at the time. We still laugh about it when my grandma isn't around. Oh dear. My aunt gave me a banana case. Yeah, yellow plastic thing to put a banana and protect it from the world, I guess. The next year it was an apple case. You know, there's also an avocado case. For our first Christmas together, my boyfriend gave me this beautifully wrapped Christmas gift. I opened it in front of his entire family and it was the ugliest pair of shoes I have ever seen. Like grandmother slipper clogs. The look on my face told everyone how I really felt, even though I said how much I liked them. They burst out laughing as it was a prank and my BF had another gift hiding. I got a similar unfashionable pair of slippers. Feet finally got so cold I said, "Frick it, I'll try them." They go with me everywhere and I ain't even mad at looks I get from guests coming over. Those moffas are the bomb. Even to this day, when my wife and I make pretty decent money, my grandma, 96 years old, still writes us a check for $15 each Christmas. It's very kind of her, but not as awesome to receive in your 30s as it was when I was 12. My grandma decides how much she wants to spend at Christmas and then divides that number by the number of cousins, which keeps growing since my southern cousins are baby machines. Last year my Christmas check was for $13.46. My mom once got me a calendar of photos of fast food, like photos of hot dogs and cheeseburgers. She was like, "Well, you like food, so maybe if you get hungry you can just look at the calendar instead of eating." I got a pair of leggings with French fries on them so that I'd be able to enjoy fries without eating any. I feel your pain. A large box of condoms from my grandma because she overheard me and my ex going at it while she was visiting for the holidays and walked in on us in the heat of the moment. Thankfully the lights were off, but yet it was awkward and hilarious at the same time. Grandma's a bro. Be thankful for that woman and her concern for your willy. Got a seal clubbing nutcracker from a well-meaning family friend. They thought the seal was a pet and the guy was just petting it with his club. LOL. I want this. Quality. Quantity. I once had a girlfriend that gifted me like 12-15 items of clothing from Goodwill. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with this in principle. For instance, trying to save money, but it just made no sense because 1. This girl did not hurt for money at all, and 2. Several of the items had stains or other damage. 3. By getting so many things she spent more than she would have for one new item of clothing. Easily the worst gift I've ever received. It would be funny if she just gifted you all of the leftover clothes she had from previous relationships. Still a crap gift for sure. A jar of artichoke hearts. Apparently this family friend was around when I plucked one from a jar and ate it, because they're tasty, and I said something about liking them. So she got me a jar of artichoke hearts and nothing else. Everyone else got gift cards for Amazon from her that year, but I guess it was my turn for the gag gift. My husband has relatives who work in a thrift store, so the entire family gets some really weird presents from them. I got a used nightgown like what grandmas would wear. It was white, but had turned yellow from age. Smelled musty too. A stained incense stick holder, with some incense sticks in a package that was opened. A collection of china plates, with stains. A shirt so big, I could swim in it. A lightly used bottle of perfume that was pretty much out of mothballs. I just donate them right back to another thrift store. In 2006 for Christmas, I gave my then fiancée a $450 hand-carved artist's easel. She gave me a 4-pack of Ferrero Rocher chocolates. My sister handed me my gift last Christmas and watched my face as I unwrapped it. It was a small painting of a butterfly and it was the ugliest thing ever, but she had painted it herself. I told her how cool it was and she let me squirm for a minute, then laughed and said, "You dumb bee." That took me 10 minutes and it's ugly as heck. Then she handed me a gift card to one of my favorite places. I've had some amazing ones from my mother-in-law. A how to cook pasta book, a ceramic hen, one candle in a gift box that clearly originally had 2 candles in it, a pasta measurer shaped like a cowboy, and my absolute favorite, chocolate covered nuts. I am allergic to nuts and have an EpiPen. I've had 4 anaphylactic shocks in my life. My husband nearly had a heart attack when I opened them. She's trying to murder you with the hen. Reddit, what's the worst gift you've ever received? Not me, but my mom was a first grade teacher. She got home with all the teacher gifts her students had given her. I was looking through them and as a crappy preteen middle schooler I was a dong when I found a little box with rocks in it. My mom, in a even tone, told me that kid was the sweetest kid in class and had no money. Pretty much only food she got was school lunches and breakfasts. She saw all the kids giving my mom the teacher gifts they brought that morning. So, she found a box and during recess collected pretty stones to give to my mom. Fricked right in the feels, man. The opposite of this, the best gift I've ever gotten was the sense of security I got when I first signed up for Dashlane. Dashlane can be your one-stop shop for your digital identity by managing all of your passwords so you don't have to keep track of all of them. They also keep your personal info and financials secure, making your digital life safe. Dashlane works across all platforms including all Apple products, PCs, Android, Safari and Chrome. Dashlane also has a secure autofill feature that works for personal information and credit cards, saving you time when shopping online, a VPN to prevent prying eyes from tracking what you're doing, and so much more. My favorite feature that Dashlane offers is complex password generation. It's always hard for me to make and remember complex passwords, but Dashlane makes it so easy to be secure. Go to dashlane.com Updoot to get Dashlane for free on your first device. Whoa, now I want to try it out. Once my uncle gave me an expired fire extinguisher for Christmas. I tried to shoot it when I got home since it wasn't safe to keep anyway and it was empty. For my 11th birthday, my grandma gave me several used and stained pairs of my younger cousin's tighty whities underwear, and those little wreaths you put on candles at Christmas time. My birthday isn't near Christmas. It was a memorable one. When I was 10, a family friend asked what I wanted for Christmas. I was tactful enough to tell her, whatever, it doesn't matter. She said, what about Legos? I was like, wow, that would be great, thanks. She gave me a copy of Tiffany's Book of Table Manners. Apparently I did something to pee her off at dinner, still not sure what. Received a digital picture frame for Christmas from my boyfriend at the time. 2 years into our relationship, turned it on, and it had pictures of him and his ex loaded on it. Regifting fail. For a Secret Santa I received 2 of those free promotional tickets to the Science Museum that had already expired. My mom gifted me toothpaste for winning this competition one year. It wasn't something big, it was at church, but still, I didn't even want to do it, but she really wanted to, so I entered. In the end she gave me 8 tubs of toothpaste like those you'd buy in bulk at Costco. I was really baffling when I saw that and she happily took it back, saying, if you don't want it, I'll have it. Yes, she's a terrible gift giver. When I was born my grandma gave me a bikini size 10. She never gave me another present after that, because she claims my parents were ungrateful bastards. A $20 gift card that only had $3.67 on it. My girl's sister had a miscarriage around Thanksgiving last year or the year before. Her C of the mill got her baby clothes. We all just sat there glaze-eyed while the sister choked back tears. My grandmother got my 14-year-old brother an NSYNC CD. He was not into them at all. At the time he was really into R&B and rap. Apparently she went to some music store and asked the guy what kind of music 14-year-old boys liked, and for some reason the dude handed her an NSYNC CD. My brother is the most polite kid on the planet, so he thanked her and tried to put it away so he could return it. Nope. Grandma grabbed it back from him and opened it up. His face got redder as she tore the plastic off. She was dancing to NSYNC and was like, wow, I can see why you like them so much, as I bit my tongue to keep from laughing. Got to hand it to my brother. He was super polite and thankful and never once let on that he was disappointed. And he was able to sell the CD to some girl he knew in school. My wife's grandparents didn't like me, possibly because we were living together before we got married. One Christmas, maybe the one we were engaged, I don't remember, they gave me a package marked Ed, which is not my name. It held a large old-fashioned portfolio-sized wallet, you know, the kind about the size of a shoe, leather, with a large bison embossed on the front. The bison was anatomically correct and appeared to be having a personal moment. I received a goldfish for my 22nd birthday, without anything to put it in or feed it. Not a present I received, but for our office random gift exchange I bought a wall outlet that can be turned on with a remote. I thought it was a great idea for your Christmas tree or Christmas lights. The lady who got it came over to my desk and complained about getting it and how useless it was and how somebody was probably regifting it. I later heard her talking to another employee asking who they thought had brought it and they told them it was me. Very awkward. When I was 8, the day after Thanksgiving, this huge box shows up in our living room next to the tree. It was as tall as the ceiling, and maybe 6 inches thick. Every day it taunted my older bro and I. We would beg to just know but parents wouldn't budge. Christmas morning, typically the best big gift is opened last, but dad implored us to open it first. Since we had been so curious about it, we laid it down so fast and started opening it, and was confused and angered to see my parents had bought us rakes. Yes, lawn rakes. We had just moved into a new house the year before which required yard work. One particular day, our parents sent us outside to rake the leaves, and we fought over who got to use the nice rake, and who had to use that metal one that didn't even do anything and sucked. So you better believe they had written our names in permanent marker on our individualized rakes so that could never happen again. I'm obviously still not over it. I went on a cruise in the Caribbean and brought my dad back a bottle of spice rum with the spices in the bottle. A couple of months later, my dad regifted me the exact same bottle for my birthday. He gave me this whole spiel about where he found it and how special it was. I waited until he was done to remind him where he actually got it. At our holiday gift exchange in 2nd grade, I got a used Halloween magazine. All pages colored, crosswords and puzzles done. I had my mum out shopping the previous Saturday for cool Hot Wheels and a nice Barbie for the 2 lucky kids who got my gifts. I once got a really nice sweater from my dad. The only problem with it was a sweater that I had already bought and ordered. My dad actually intercepted my mail and found the sweater, repackaged it, and then gave it to me as a gift 3 weeks later. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the gift of inconvenience. A carton of cat food. I don't have a cat. Just preparing you for your future. When I was 7, I was at Christmas at my dad's parents', my grandparents' house with my 2 cousins, who were of similar age to me. They both got fancy bikes. I got a knockoff Barbie, like, it was a doll that was similar to a Barbie, but not the name brand, in a package that still had the $5.99 price tag attached. I was out of town for a few days for work and got a text from my wife as I was pulling into the neighborhood that there was a surprise for me waiting outside. I pulled up to see a gorgeous, fully restored 1957 Chevy 3100 sitting in my spot. I couldn't believe it. I'd been looking for a pickup and my wife knew I liked classic cars, but this was insane. Just as I got out of my car to check it out, my son's friend and his dad who was coming to pick him up in his 57 Chevy walked off my porch. My youngest came outside and said, "Daddy, do you like your surprise?" and pointed to a welcome home dad drawing he had taped to the door. I have never felt worse in my life for trying to play up a scribbled drawing as the best surprise ever. I can't say I didn't love his surprise and I definitely can't say it was a bad gift, but it definitely was the biggest misconception of all time. When I was 11 or 12 I got 3 separate cheap travel shaving kits from one Christmas gathering. I didn't have any facial hair or anything, so the third one was my worst gift ever. I received a pine cone from a sister that doesn't really like me. My friends and I pass it around every year. No one knows when it's their turn but we all know it's coming soon. A still warm McChicken sandwich for Christmas. My brother forgot to buy any of the family a present so he made a pit stop to McDonald's on the way to dinner. Tried to pass it off as a joke. I love my dad dearly, but one Christmas he got me the Eagles' Heck Freezes Over, which is I guess a live Eagles reunion concert. Throughout my life I had expressed zero interest in the Eagles. I don't hate them. 100%. I just have no interest in them, so the gift was pretty baffling, but whatever. The very next Christmas, I go to open a small, DVD-shaped package, and it is the exact same freaking DVD. I thought it was a prank at first, but his earnest expression means he had literally no recollection of buying it for me the year before. So now I have 2 of these freaking things that I can't throw away because they are gifts, and I know my dad meant well. My mom is the worst gift giver. In high school, I talked about one of those dinosaur belly piggy banks that our friend had. Not frequently, just once maybe twice. The next Christmas, my present is a piggy bank. Specifically, one with my brother's name on it that had been sitting in the kitchen for months. I put it back. She also gives other wonderful things such as one of a pack of 4 hair clips that she proudly exclaims her shrewdness for, since she got a discount deal on presents for 4 people. I was a tomboy who never wore accessories. Another, she once told me she got 2 jackets, and asked me to pick one out so she could take the other. I picked one. She said, "Oh, that's the one I wanted," then proceeded to swap them from within my closet weeks later. But honey, I look so much cuter in that than you do. A plastic replica of a glass Coke bottle. Not me but my cousin. He was opening a gift from GMA, face full of excitement as he pulled the sweatshirt out. What was excitement quickly turned to dismay as it was the exact same sweatshirt he was wearing. She nailed his taste at least. I have 3 worst gift experiences, all courtesy of my cheap ass grandmother. For Christmas when I was 10, she gave me a 2.5 pounds fruitcake in a tin. That sounds bad enough, but besides the fact that she gave a fruitcake to her 10-year-old, she happily told me that she had actually ordered me a 5-pound fruitcake, but because they were out of stock in that size, she was given 2.5 pounds fruitcakes instead, and wasn't that great because now she could keep one for herself. Ugh. For my 13th birthday she gave me 2 polo shirts, one in a men's large and the other in an extra large. At the time I was probably 5 feet 5 inches and 120 pounds. As an adult now, I'm 5 minutes and 10 seconds and 170 pounds, and those shirts still wouldn't come close to fitting me. But she again gleefully told me how she got them on the clearance rack at Macy's so they barely cost her anything. For my 15th birthday she gave me a card with a $20 bill in it. After I opened it, she said she only wanted to give me $10 but didn't have a bill smaller than a 20. Then she asked if I had change so I could give her $10 back. A pack of 3XL panties from my grandmother when I was, at best, a M-sized 13-year-old girl. Bonus. Last winter I learned this same grandmother has given all the grandkids a $5 bill for Christmas every year for the past 20-some years. Except, of course, to me. A monogrammed shirt. Both the middle initial and size were wrong. When I was 23 I found out I was pregnant. My boyfriend proposed and we were happily married 5 months later. On my 24th birthday, my well-off grandmother sent me a card in the mail with a note stuck inside that said, "I know you were expecting your usual birthday check, but this year I decided since you were old enough to get pregnant out of wedlock and further embarrass me by eloping, then you're old enough to understand what a budget is, and this year you don't fit into mine." She came around once our son was born. That was 13 years ago, and she has since passed, but I will always remember that birthday wedding gift. My grandmother gave me a pineapple, wrapped in newspaper. She told me that if she were to use real gift wrapping paper, she would have to deduct the cost from the real gift. I don't remember what she got my brother that year, if it was the stereo, the Discman, or the safe, or which one of those. I got a little red plastic bucket. I do remember not being the favorite grandchild though. On a class secret Santa, I received a mug from a classmate. It had those brown circles inside, which are left by tea. Also, the inside of it was scratched, and I found a similar one later in a nearby grocery shop for about $1. I didn't even get some sweets or something with it, just the mug in a paper satchel. Birthday present from a great aunt, Thesaurus, with a sticker that had my name on it. Check for $3. She set a $20 gift limit for you and the Thesaurus was only $17. My grandmother was super excited to give me a Sweet 16 gift. It was a 3-pack of self-tanning lotion. I'm a super white girl and she got the darkest tanning lotion available. She told me that I needed to get in the sun more often. This is a few months after she was diagnosed with melanoma. My son received the worst gift ever from my wife's parents. My mill had bought both kids some chocolates and was gonna put $50 inside for them to pick out whatever they wanted. She wrapped my daughters and left my sons out for my fill to do. Since he ignores most things people say, he ended up pocketing the $50 and eating the chocolates and putting the wrappers inside the box. The next morning my mill sees the unwrapped box with no cash and assumes the cash is inside. She wrapped the box of trash and gave that to my son for Christmas. Worst gift was kind of a double whammy. From September, my birthday, to December of 1997, I begged and begged for an N64. I'm owed our lawn, our neighbor's lawn, and my aunt's lawn more times than they even needed it to try and save up, but didn't quite make enough. A week or two before Christmas, we saw a bundle in a pawn shop that came with tons of games and 4 controllers for a great price. It seemed as though I had convinced them that, with the money I saved up and the rest covered by them, it might actually happen. We didn't buy it that day. On Christmas, I was the happy child who got to open a tube of toothpaste. No crap at all. A tube of toothpaste. I think there were a couple of toys also, but when you are gifted a tube of toothpaste for Christmas, it's about all you remember. To top it off, my parents decided to rub salt in the wound and tell me that they went back to buy me the N64, but it had already been purchased by some other lucky kid's parents. Apparently a tube of toothpaste was the next best thing. My brother gave me a stack of Xerox paper one year for my birthday. I was 5 and obsessed with all things Barbie. I'm pretty sure my birthday cake was a Barbie in icing. My grandma followed suit with the theme and bought me a Barbie, a collector's edition Barbie. I go to open the packaging and my grandma instantly says no. It's a collector's edition. You don't open it, you hold on to it and it will be worth money later. So my mom stored the Barbie in my closet and it was my shining beacon of self-control to not rip it open. But 20 years later and the Barbie is worth a whole $5 on eBay. My childhood suffering was for nothing. Kindling wrapped in a nice green yarn bow. I was 12. One year my grandma gave everyone a framed photo of herself for Christmas. 1. It was a professional headshot. 2. She was and is not close to death, as far as anyone can tell. It's a toss-up between 2 gifts I've received from my in-laws. A sheath for a pocket knife, with no knife, or a single piece of Tupperware. Last Christmas, every girl in my family got a handmade Afghan blanket from my grandma. These are my favorite, and everyone knows it, so when they got handed out I was so excited. I got a card with a $25 gift card in it. I don't believe anyone owes me anything, so I'm not too mad. But it was certainly disappointing. My family is huge, so I was the only one of about 16 girls in my family. For my high school graduation, my mom put down money on a 3-day trip to Mexico. I was super stoked as I'd studied Spanish for 5 or 6 years at that point and had never been able to travel much. Sadly, my mom got scammed and that trip never happened. I've still never been to Mexico either. Who ruined your family Christmas this year, and what did they do? I found out my wife was cheating on me at 11:30 p.m. Christmas Eve while we were at her parents' house. I packed up my stuff, walked right by her family who didn't know what was going on, and drove 6 hours in a crazy rainstorm to my parents' house. So there's that. My mother got belligerently drunk, locked herself in the closet, and claimed she was going to end her life. Then she vomited and my dad and I were trying to drag her into her bed. She then proceeded to get violent with me and kicked me in the face. Reading this makes me feel a bit better. I'm in a similar situation but it's my dad. My stupid freaking uncle. The story behind why I hate him is long and involved, but every year I hate him and my awful cousins just a little bit more. This year though, frick him. My 83-year-old grandma had been caring for my 88-year-old grandpa with dementia, incontinence, and legs so bad he could barely stand let alone get around. My grandfather was horrible to her because he was so confused he couldn't figure things out and lashed out at her. My mom went up and helped as much as she could, and I did too. My uncle never lifted a motherfucking finger, but made her feel guilty about putting him in respite care because of COVID. She was all alone. No outside help could come in because of COVID. And yet he bitched at her for even thinking about putting him in respite just so she could get a break from the 24-hour care. She eventually snapped and had a mental breakdown from the stress and ended up putting my grandpa in respite, where unfortunately he suffered a stroke and died a couple of months later. Did my uncle help plan arrangements? Number. Did he go to my grandma's at all the day he died? Number. Then he insulted my mom because she didn't personally give him the funeral plans even though my aunt was there the whole time and could have told him at any time. Then he actually whines about not having a traditional Thanksgiving dinner and made my grandma feel so guilty that she prepared dinner for his family by herself. 1 month after my grandfather's death and did his usual thing of arriving 2 hours late, leaving her sitting there trying to keep food warm. Like she has to do every year. This year I said frick that. I'll have Christmas here and you do whatever the frick you want, but it will not involve guilting my grandma again to make a whole Christmas dinner for your selfish, whiny butt. Plans changed and me and my brother, plus our spouses and children, are going to my grandma's on Sunday. But could he leave well enough alone? No. Now he's intruding on my nice relaxed Christmas with my grandma and I have to be forced to be in the same room as his racist, homophobic, selfish, whiny, immature butt. Saving grace is my terrible cousins will not be there. If he follows the same pattern that every year before, though, he will be 2-3 hours late and we will already be gone, so it won't matter. My girlfriend's sister. She has 3 young girls and a terrible choice of men. She chooses today via a video of the kids to reveal to everybody that she is now dating a well-known junkie within our town. She has a very addictive personality and has struggled to stay clean herself. My girlfriend is now ridiculously stressed out and worried for the kids. My wife decided to stay on the phone with one of her exes from her distant past rather than sit down with me and my sons to eat the Christmas Eve dinner I spent 3 hours making while it was still hot. I had that experience with my ex-husband. Fun times. Awesome that you cooked. Don't ever forget you're fine just as you are. My mom decided that is better for her and me that she is going to spend these holidays with her much younger boyfriend. 15-17 year difference in another city, while her second husband, my stepdad, is in a different country trying to work for us so he can help us with money and crap. So here I am, barely 18, spending my first Christmas and New Year's Eve alone. My cousin exposed our entire extended family of generational abuse and trauma, and like a good old traumatized family, all the adults carried on like normal and the kids are seeking therapy. Time to have your own separate Christmas without the adults. I was planning to go spend Christmas with my mom and dad this year after my 9-year engagement broke off just before Christmas. I just moved out, so I'm alone for the first time in 9 years. Then my dog got a stomach bug. He woke me up 3 times at night to go outside for a poo. He usually sleeps through the night no problem, and I discovered a pile of puke on his dog bed. It's not his fault, but I don't know if I can go anywhere today. I'm sorry. I hope you managed to enjoy your day somehow. My 10-year relationship broke down 3 weeks ago and COVID ruined the minimal Christmas plans I had. So I feel your pain. Hope the dog feels better soon. Not a family member. My grandma is into spiritist stuff. Whatever. She's happy and it's not like the money she gives put her well-being in jeopardy. We found out that the people to whom she's been giving money for years is scamming her for a very large amount of money. My dad and uncle stopped taking her to that place, and they called her from the place and convinced her that her family wants to do her harm. She was very sour and barely spoke to anyone. That added to the fact that Christmas was a very small meeting this year and some of us were there for less than an hour. We're not sure if that can be legally denounced as scamming, and it's very difficult to talk to my grandma about that subject. People were bitter and worried. It was a very tense meeting. Cancer. My mom passed in early July. First year without her. My brother and I visited grandma, like every year, but this time without our mom. But the feeling just isn't the same anymore. So sorry for your loss. My cousin, who bought Chick-fil-A so he wouldn't have to eat our homemade meals, announced upon arriving he wasn't helping with anything. Tried to trip acid all day on Christmas Eve. Got drunk before noon by himself on that same day when I told him no Christmas hallucinogens, and drunkenly screamed in my face when I told him to clean up his dishes and beer cans. No Christmas hallucinogens. There's a phrase I've never seen before. My body, I guess. I have a condition that is rapidly worsening, and on Christmas Eve my doctor told me it's gotten so bad I may need to be in urgent care at the hospital on Tuesday. It's all I've been thinking about. I can't even sleep. My wife. A couple weeks ago she broke the news to me that she had an affair at the beginning of this year and wants a divorce. Hey, as someone who went through infidelity and divorce, if you need someone to talk to or just to vent, DM me. I'm happy to try to be supporting in this really tough time. My mom died last week. My dad died 6 years ago. This is my first holiday without a parent. There's our mom for a minute if you need it. Obviously that's no substitute for your real parents, but it's a place to talk to your mum for a bit if you're lonely or need to share. Truly sorry for your loss. It's Christmas morning and I can hear my nephew, who lives in the apartment downstairs, throwing a temper tantrum because he thinks his sister got larger gifts from Santa this year. His dad, are you joking right now? You better be joking. Say just kidding. Oh my god. Tell me he's kidding. It's 8 AM. No one ruined Christmas but my granddad has been in the hospital for almost 2 weeks and unfortunately, he can't be home for Christmas. We've never had a Christmas without him for all 20 years of my life. Due to COVID, we can't visit either. Gave him a call this morning and it put a lump in my throat. He mentioned he got a gift from the ward which got him emotional and nearly got me in tears. He calmed down and started to tell me about the turkey dinner he's having today which he's excited about. Good news though, he should be home before New Year. 21 here. Grandpa passed in January. It feels weird. Not this year, but last year my older sister was being a bee and talking down to me. Seriously, when was the last time I even talked to you? My reply. I'm not sure. Maybe it was at your wedding a few months ago. She got married in May, divorced by July, now sitting next to her new boyfriend that she's introducing to us for the first time. They left. My parents were pee. I had a great time. Okay, story time please. I stole my family's stockings and replaced them with coal. My mom couldn't stop laughing. My dad was annoyed and my brother indifferent. I like your mum. Frickin' Travis. My friend is remodeling his kitchen and living room. Well, Travis, who does vac and electrical work, decided that it would be no big deal to go to work knowing that his wife was sick with COVID. He exposed my dad who's a painter and my friend's dad who's a carpenter. Now we all have to be without our dad. Frickin' Travis, you suck. Frick Travis. And Aaron from an earlier comment. Why people gotta be buttholes at the holidays. Christmas got cancelled due to the parents having an argument in the morning. Told everyone not to come. Spent Christmas with my cat, eating Uber Eats. Myself. For always acting like it is okay to do all the work, all the planning, all the present buying, etc. So now no one tries to make it special for me and I am just tired of doing all the work, so I don't. I have been in a similar spot and it's rough. I'm so sorry. Everyone except me this time. Everyone is yelling at one another while I'm here writing this comment, hoping everyone will stay calm more than 3 minutes. I got fired a week ago for doing my job and giving everything to my company. Frick you, Aaron. Sorry dude. Frick Aaron. All my homies hate Aaron. For once no one has ruined my Christmas but my sister is still supposed to come round and we've not been on the same page ever. I'm in the same boat except my sister also has a mini spawn who's also never on the same page with my son. Going to enjoy these last moments until they get here, then it's time to drink. Well, I got left with building every single toy set for my nephew, and these aren't simple plug-in things. Booklets with 7 bags of screws and wooden dowels that I have to twist and fit perfectly. It's 6 AM and I still have one left, but that will have to wait. Save that last one to do with him. That could mean more to him than the gift itself. Myself. Ate takeaway curry last night and got food poisoning, so I've spent the entire day at home hugging the toilet bowl. On the plus side, my abdominals are gonna look fierce tomorrow, so there's that. Gym owners hate this one simple trick. My mom's denial of her bipolar disorder. She is in full manic mode. I traveled 8 hours from another country to be with my parents on Christmas. I was supposed to stay for almost 2 weeks, but the atmosphere was so toxic I had to get out after 3 days. I told them I'm leaving. I couldn't handle her screaming and aggressivity and overall nastiness. I want to help her so badly, but she flat out screamed to my face that she isn't ill. This is who she is. I have my own mental health issues and I couldn't take it anymore because she was pouring verbal poison into me every minute I was with her. I sat on a bus back home and arrived at 3 AM to my apartment to spend Christmas alone. I'm a mom with bipolar disorder and stuff like this is why I take my mental health so seriously. I watched and treated mental illness destroy my aunt's relationship with her kids. I don't want my son's childhood ruined by memories of a crazy mother. They didn't ask for that. They deserve better and so do you. Me. Woke up at 10 AM hungover and I've only just stopped throwing up. Bob's mom decided having COVID-like symptoms weren't cause enough for testing. Gave it to Bob who in turn may have given it to me. Neither my GF nor I who live together can go see our families BC we are waiting on lab results. Lung cancer ruined my Christmas by popping up the week before Christmas. I've been an endurance athlete my whole life. No smoking and barely drink. All my COVID tests were negative. So we did a CT scan that led to biopsies. Got the results 3 days ago. I'm only 29 years old, just finished grad school and landed my dream job 3 weeks ago. Dude, my sympathies. Wishing you a swift battle and long life. My dad killed himself in August. I cried at 6 AM because it's my first Christmas without him. Last week, FedEx delivered some of the gifts I'd ordered, but instead of placing them on my porch, they left them behind my vehicle in the driveway. I subsequently backed over them when I went to get groceries. I have Crohn's and I got an abscess right near my sphincter dart that had to be surgically drained under general anesthesia, but unbeknownst to them it was so deep and it went high up in my right cheek superlevator or some shite. They all looked like somebody threw crap and blood everywhere when I left. It happens BC, it shoots out from the pressure and if they aren't prepared, well then they forgot to give me pain meds when I went home and I was still numb from surgery so I couldn't feel anything. Q 6 hours later, 10:30 my time and I head back to the air. Finally got a pain med in me, 2:30 a fucking. And now I have to wait until the flight-fight reaction goes back down, which means take pills for a BT and then I will eventually calm down. I hate pills too BC, they constipate me, but I can't take ibuprofen BC, it fucks my Crohn's up bad. OWH what fricking fun. And this ain't the first Christmas New Year's in the air. Fa la la frick me. No one. I have no one to celebrate it with, so that sucks. Have an e-hug. Merry Christmas. My ex divorced me this year, finalized on what would have been my 11th year anniversary. She took the kids and moved 900 miles away. I'm so sad all the time now. Even having my kids with me for Christmas, I feel empty. All I want is my family back. My wife. She called the simple ring my daughter received from her boyfriend a trash ring because she wasn't wearing the nearly $700 class ring we had just given her. I have never been so disgusted with my wife. I did. I told my family our convicted pedophile uncle would never know my kids, and if he is there at Christmas, I wouldn't be. Neither would my kids. This year will be a very quiet Christmas at my house because they all think I am a bigot. It's actually encouraged to be bigoted against pedophiles, and I am hardcore side-eyeing your family for defending him. Definitely not the worst one, having read some of the other contributions here. My long-term girlfriend, who I was going to spend Christmas with, cheated on me. Then when I tried to forgive and gave her a chance to make it work, she decided she simply wanted to end things there. And now I'm sitting here staring at a huge pile of gifts I'd got her, wondering what the point is anymore. The point is moving on to find someone who will love you as much as you deserve. I'm sorry about your girlfriend and Christmas, but hope you'll see it was for the best someday. My husband's alcoholic co-worker. Dude has been packing into bars every day this whole pandemic and he got COVID. He took it with him to work and my husband got sick. Brought it home to me. So now rather than enjoying hosting family Christmas in our new house, we are both still so exhausted that our living room is overtaken with bedroom furniture that we don't have the energy to take upstairs. and we ate frozen pizza on Christmas Eve because the idea of grocery shopping, let alone cooking anything, makes me want to cry. My husband died of cancer at Thanksgiving, so let's just move to January already. The definition of a fricked up everything. So it was a group effort of my parents. Last summer during quarantine, my mom decided to finally divorce my dad. My dad had been an alcoholic for a while, and 8 or 9 years ago my mom had decided not to divorce because my oldest sister, 14 at the time, would have had to be the sober adult on the days that us 3 kids were with our dad. Now that I, the youngest, am almost out of high school, she felt it was safe for us kids to handle the divorce. It's complicated and I've already rambled enough already, so I'll just say that my mom has had enough trying to make things work and my dad is in denial, thinking we can still work something out without going to a full divorce. He also blames himself for everything when it really just didn't work out. A week or 2 ago, my dad gave me a very emotionally distressed text that was basically an ultimatum, telling me to choose between my 2 parents. This gave me an opportunity to stop going to his house every week and stay with my mom indefinitely. Now it's Christmas though, and we're spending Christmas morning at his house so that he's not alone like he was on Thanksgiving. My dad means well, but he goes crying over every little thing and being around him makes everyone in the family depressed. Let's see how this morning goes. I'm on my way now. My grandmother, she died. I wish this was a joke, but she really did die peacefully the morning of 12/24. We think she waited specifically for that day because she knew we'd be together and our Christmas traditions would help us get through the tough day. Got a call from my dad last night while at my aunt's house with my mom and brother. I could barely understand him as he was most likely drunk out of his mind. It was embarrassing. As someone who has had the last several Christmases ruined by an alcoholic father, you have my sympathy. Last year my brother and I spent Christmas together without the rest of the family, and although we both missed seeing our mum, it was a huge relief to not be waiting for the inevitable drama violence tears that our usual family Christmas entails. I wouldn't say it ruined Christmas, but my cousin died by suicide almost a month ago and my aunt called my mom crying this morning because they have to do Christmas without her. Sort of put a damper on everyone's mood. To be clear, I'm not blaming my aunt. It's just really sad. My mom was crying. My dad was crying. It's just hard. When we have moments of joy, it makes me feel guilty because she's gone, and then I also feel really upset because I wish there was something I could have done. Just a sad time. I'll tell last year's story. My dad and his wife live in the Midwest. My wife and I live in California. In September, my dad had asked my wife and I to consider moving to the same Midwest city as him and his wife. My dad said he'd help us with moving expenses, buying a house, or whatever else we needed. My dad and his wife are millionaires. My wife and I are not nearly as well off, but are just starting our careers. My wife and I talked about it, and we liked the city, and the prospect of getting some help buying a house, which we all know is a dying millennial dream, was enough for us to say yes. My dad and his wife had just purchased a new home and told us that as soon as they sold their old home, they'd co-sign and or help with a down payment on a house in their city. They hooked us up with their realtor right away and informed their realtor of the game plan. We're looking at homes online the entire time and making a list of houses to view when we return to the Midwest for Christmas. Fast forward 3 months. Christmas morning, after opening presents, in front of the entire family, my dad tells me that he's decided he wants to put in a pool and doesn't want to help us buy our house. He then avoids me for the next 3 days, and the night before my wife and I are supposed to fly back out, I've had enough. I tell my wife to pack her bags and we'll stay in a hotel the last night. My dad overhears us talking about it, interjects, after literally not seeing him for 3 days, despite being in the same house, and I calmly confront him about the entire situation. His wife flies off the handle and literally bum rushes me from across the room, completely unprovoked. My dad has to restrain her. She tells me to leave and never come back. My dad backs her up and says, "Yeah, if you don't leave, I'm going to call the police." I scoffed, pointed out that we were already leaving, and called an Uber. Haven't talked to him since. We blocked him and his wife. A year later, my wife and I are 6 months pregnant. I just got my dream job making great money. My dad has no idea about either. Additionally, my brother and his girlfriend refuse to visit my dad for Christmas and have more or less cut contact with my dad and his wife. TLDR. Dad is a pose and now his kids want nothing to do with him. People like this get off on building up your hopes and then dashing them. They like the power. Good for you. When I was 12, my dad accidentally left my mom at a rest area and we drove 250 miles before we realized she was gone. What's your Christmas horror story? My mother died in late August 2006. That Christmas, I knew that everyone would have a hard time as Christmas was mom's favorite holiday, so I bought everyone pornography and wrapped it in boxes of all shapes and sizes. Once Christmas morning came around, everyone found gifts filled with blacktail and barely legal. It was weird at the time, but now everyone refers to it as the time Ryan bought everyone pee, which is what I was hoping for. Oh my god. Didn't get it at first, but you are a genius. My wife had a miscarriage yesterday, so my 6-year-old daughter and I need to remember which presents under the tree are baby related today and go hide them away somewhere. It'd probably be a good idea to use a pocket knife and ease open the wrapping on the presents to double check. It can be taped over and not look tampered with. I did this a lot as a kid. So sorry for your loss. For Christmas when I was very young, I got a package of lifesavers in my stocking along with lots of other candy. I had a thing for mint back then, so I was munching on those in my room as I put away my new stuff. I got overzealous with a lifesaver and swallowed it whole. It lodged completely in my throat, and I was breathing through the tiny hole in it, but barely. I kept trying to swallow, but it was incredibly painful, and I couldn't yell. I remember not being able to get the door open for some reason, and it felt like the lifesaver was twisting in my throat, cutting off my air supply. I couldn't cough or anything. My vision started dimming when suddenly my mother came in the room to see why I wasn't coming back downstairs, and thinking like a freaking ninja, brought a fist down on my back without asking any stupid questions, and the lifesaver popped out of my throat into my mouth. I lay on the ground gasping for breath. She snapped a picture, said she was glad I didn't die, then went downstairs to tell the family that I almost died on a mint. No, I don't have the picture anymore, and every year my mom gives me a pack of lifesavers and tells me, try not to die this time. 7th grade, I had an anomaly growing within my neck. Turned out to be this terrible infection. Ended up having the left side of my neck, under my jaw, balloon about 12 inches. Was so delirious from meds infection I spent most of Christmas thinking I was a tree. I hope your family decorated you, at least. My older sister Kelly was an utter bee in high school. The year she was 16 and I was 13, she was giving my broke butt mom a hard time about never ever getting a decent Christmas gift and how mom's taste is crap and just all this crap. Kelly's the oldest of 6 kids in a broke family. Sorry you didn't get expensive crap for Christmas. Now get over it. But she just wouldn't get it. Somehow my mom convinces herself that Kelly is right and she's going to make this year perfect for her. So they go through a department store and Kelly points out 7 or so things that she wants for Christmas. Any of those 7 things would make her happy. My mom goes back and buys all 7 to really blow her mind, and then lets it slip that Kelly's just going to be so happy because she's getting everything she wanted. On Christmas Eve, mom's wrapping all of the presents and realizes that she only bought me one thing. She figures 6 perfect gifts are still good and puts my name on one of them. Christmas morning, Kelly's unwrapped her presents and I'm on my second one. I unwrap some board game. I don't remember what it was, and Kelly flips out. Since she'd been expecting all of the presents, to not get one, and especially to be subjected to the horror of seeing someone else unwrap it, was just too much tragedy and she throws a truly epic fit. I try to give her stupid board game. I didn't want it, but no, the damage is done and Kelly will never ever recover. I think I just talked myself out of mailing her a last minute gift this year. Haha, the last sentence is golden. My mom decided to wean my sister off her pacifier. Long story short, neighbors called the police on suspected child abuse because of the sheer volume of my sister's temper tantrum as my mother calmly ignored her. Merry Christmas, neighborhood. On the other side of things, when my mom decided it was time for me to give up my pacifier, She told me I had to leave it under the tree for Santa in order to get gifts. It totally worked and I never wanted it again. True Christmas spirit. I was about 14 when suddenly my cat went missing. We searched the whole house. The problem was, we could hear him moaning and crying as if he was stuck between the walls or in another dimension. Turns out the poor thing spent the whole afternoon in the fridge. I hate it when my cat gets stuck in another dimension. When I was young I lived in Iowa. Every year we would go out and cut down a tree to use as our Christmas tree. Well, one year we put our tree up and a few days after all these brown specks kept appearing on the ground. My mom continuously swept them away, but they would always reappear. Then, one of my mom's friends came over to our house and told her that the brown specks were baby spiders. The tree we had cut down had a spider nest in it, but luckily the spiders would die immediately after they hatched out of the eggs. We quickly got rid of the spider-infested tree and had our house cleaned, and ever since then, we have been using a fake Christmas tree. When I was 4, after we had all gone to bed on Christmas Eve, my 1-month-old sister began having issues breathing and had to go to the hospital. My parents rushed there, but they had not wrapped any of the presents, so my aunt and uncle came over and wrapped all of the presents in the middle of the night. By morning, my sister was stable enough that my dad came over to help us unwrap presents, while my mom stayed at the hospital. Being 4, I was only vaguely aware of what was going on. TLDR, newborn sister quit breathing on Christmas Eve. That selfish girl. Younger sisters are always little attention seekers. This is not about me, but my mom. When my parents were dating, 17-18, married by 20 I think. So this would have been sometime between 1980 to 1982. My mom was driving to my dad's house to spend Christmas with his family. A drunk driver hit my mom about a mile away from my dad's house. The driver T-boned her on the driver's side door. She lived, but as a result of this crash, my mom has a large chunk of her left bicep missing, as if a shark took a big bite out of her. And as a result of her losing almost half of her blood from all the combined injuries of the crash, she had many blood transfusions. Now blood was not tested nearly as rigorously as it is today, and my mom was given a transfusion infected with hepatitis C. She has hepatitis C. Neither me nor my older brother were born with it, and she made sure that they tested us for that crap like crazy. As a final result of this, my mom no longer travels on Christmas Eve. You either come to our house, or you don't see us. TLDR. Drunk driver hit my mom on Christmas Eve. She lost a fuckload of blood, got a tainted blood transfusion. My dad still married her. She no longer drives during the holidays. That Christmas proved that your dad deserves your mother's love, at least from that perspective. It's kind of beautiful, really. Christmas Eve 04, my mom took 2 pain pills, passed out in Santa lingerie in living room. Wake up Christmas morning to find mom still in a strange catatonic state, half sleeping, half jamming on chips and salsa and wondering what the frick is happening. I like the cut of your mom's jib. My father, a long-time alcoholic, had finally killed himself on the stuff at the end of November, right before Thanksgiving, and for an entire month, all of our Christmas money was put into a fund to pay for the cremation of his remains. If we did not come up with the $2,000, then his body would have been turned over to the county, and he would have been turned to ash with a dozen other unclaimed bodies. We made the cut, and got his cremation paid for. Our entire Christmas was paying for my father's ashes. At least he looked nice under the tree. I'm so sorry this happened to you. About 5 years ago, my cousin, same age as me, grew up together, got mistaken as twins all our childhood, died on the 12th of December from some sort of sudden diabetic coma in his sleep at 20 years old. Family members finally took pity on his mother and took her Christmas tree down sometime after Valentine's. That pretty much ruined Christmas forever after, and Halloween. His birthday was the 31st of October. My brother was doing some tricks on his rollerblade, his Christmas present, and figured out how to grind. He told me to watch him do it. He started to grind, but I got distracted by something, I don't remember what, causing me to miss the stunt. My brother tries to show me again and breaks his arm. Spend the rest of the day plus one more in the hospital. My family blamed it on me. Scumbag family. Little bro fricks up, blames it on you. I realized I had food poisoning when my family and I were at a Christmas Eve service, pieced out of there, and spent the rest of Christmas Eve puking and pooping everywhere. The next morning, I finally realized I probably had to go to the hospital and spent the rest of the day there. I capped the evening off with good news, a suppository, TLDR, got sick, put pills up my butt. Best Christmas ever. I had food poisoning, although not requiring hospitalization, but it was still quite nasty. My cousin, flying in from abroad, was detained at customs and thrown into jail overnight for having missed a court date. I think this was also the season where my grandpa died and my cousin's dog got run over by a car on my mom's birthday 2 weeks later. I wish I were making this up. Not really a horror story, but weird nonetheless. I went to an all-girls school in high school. One day in December they set up a little backdrop where you could pay $1 to sit on Santa's lap and get your picture taken. Santa was the creepy butt janitor. God, there are a lot of tragic stories here. I was hoping this would be more lighthearted. The true Christmas horror story I had was when I was 23. My brother was killed in a car accident driving to work on Christmas Eve. We spent Christmas Day picking out a coffin for him. Dang, this hit me like a ton of bricks realizing that one of the kids in the story was the brother you speak of. Last Christmas our whole family caught the flu and everybody threw up except for my dad. We all laid around the whole day dehydrated and miserable. But looking back on it, I'm glad we were all able to feel miserable together. You know what they say, misery loves company, ha ha ha. My Christmas horror story happened way back in 1978 at a little hospital in Indiana. I was born and cursed with having the worst birthday imaginable. I hope you enjoy your present. It's for Christmas and your birthday. Rare thread that I read every post. I suppose that means I enjoy others' suffering. Also, stay the frick away from IR at Christmas. Haha, wow, that's pretty bad. It reminds me of that one time my dad intentionally left my mom stranded at the mall because she was taking too long. Let's just say, we ate canned beans for about a week. I had to drive my mum 200 miles round trip on Christmas Eve 2009 to have radiation treatment at the cancer clinic. At the same time I was dealing with a bipolar depressive phase that was becoming so severe I was hearing voices and prone to paranoia. That sure was one fun Christmas. I'll tell you what, my mom's fine now, and I'm feeling pretty good these days. I'm really glad your mom got better. I had to go through the same thing with mine. My grandmother passed away about 2 AM Christmas morning. She had been in the hospital for about 3 months. Broken hip, in and out of surgery, it was her time. My mother was there when she passed, and went as peaceful as we could have hoped. My mom gets home about 3. I hear her come in and give her a big hug. She's bawling. The rest of my family was asleep, and have no idea. We both went to bed, and I woke up early the next morning and my little brother, 9 or 10, was downstairs giddy as he can fricking be because it's Christmas morning, and he has no idea what has happened. When my mother eventually gets up he's even more excited because that means it's present opening time. My mother has to sit my little brother down and tell him yeah, I died last night. To see his face go from an ecstatic happy giddy freaking not a care in the world Christmas morning joy of a little kid to just the utter devastation and sadness of our grandmother's death was the saddest thing I have ever witnessed. It still, as I'm writing this, can make me tear up. This exact same thing happened to our family when I was 10 and my brother 7. My parents waited till the 26th to tell us what happened. It was Christmas morning and I believe I was around 6. I think that's kindergarten in America, while my older sister and brother were 16 and 14. For the next 3 hours, we were in charge of watching the oven with the ham in it to make sure there wouldn't be a fire while we were making Christmas cookies because our parents had to go pick up a few things. Being young and having my first session with baking, I made a gigantic mess. My older sister had to sit me on the counter of the bathroom on the first floor because I had cookie dough all over my face and in my hair. The cookie dough tasted like cinnamon and nutmeg. It smelled amazing. My older brother had to finish the baking on his own while my sister cleaned me up after she noticed I started to eat the dough out of my hair. After I get cleaned up, My sister and brother go continue playing Final Fantasy VII on the old PlayStation while I sat on the couch and watched. They were at the part where they watched Aerith died. I remembered smelling a strong smell of cinnamon and nutmeg and I fell asleep. I don't know how long I was asleep for, but I remember waking up to fire alarms and my siblings yelling at each other and scrambling to figure out how to use the fire extinguisher. I jumped off the couch, grabbed my pail and tried to fill it up with water from the bathroom, but I couldn't reach. After a loud shhhi noise, my sister grabbed me and ran outside of the house. "What's happening?" I questioned in a cuter, less articulate way. My brother just said that we were in trouble. I started crying. It wasn't long that our parents got home and the entire mess was discovered, but I was happy that I didn't get punished at least and that the house didn't burn down. I finally got to play Final Fantasy VII for a bit though. TLDR. House almost burned down when I was 6. The way you describe the smells is so charming. Great story. Me and my family were traveling several hundred miles to visit relatives over the holidays. About halfway there I managed to somehow get my elbow jammed into this cubby type compartment where the passenger side airbag would be in today's cars. Well, I had lodged it in there so well that we had to go to the nearest emergency room where the terrified nurse had to lube up my arm in order to get it out. This should be read by Menet. Well done. I'll play. 1986. I was 15. It's XMAS Eve and my family is sitting around enjoying the XMAS cheer when my brother-in-law calls to wish us a Merry Christmas. D. Oh, did I mention that, 9 months earlier, he faked his own death by killing a hitchhiker and burning the body in the back of his car? Alright, I'm interested. Tell me more. We went out to eat dinner a few days before Christmas and returned home after our meal. I opened the outer door and saw a small pool of water in the entryway. I thought that was a bit odd, but it could have been some melted snow so I didn't think too much of it. I started to open the inner door and that's when I heard an odd noise. I step in and see water running down the walls and the floor is covered in about a 1/2 inch of water. Running wading through the house trying to find the source. We eventually find it's the upstairs bathroom and get the pipe shut off. It turns out the Dachshund decided to try to get into the trash and tip the trash can. It fell perfectly severing the input hose to the toilet. We figure it was spraying water for around a half hour before we got home. Surprisingly there wasn't too much damage as the water mainly went through to the linoleum parts of the house. But it wasn't very fun having to clean half the house days before Christmas. TLDR. My dog flooded our house. My dad got appendicitis on Christmas Eve, went to the ER around 3 AM, and had his appendix out on Christmas Day. Best part was my mom worked a 12-hour nursing shift on Christmas Eve, and had gotten home at around 9 PM. She had to drive him to the ER, and was still up at like 9 AM. Fun times. I had horrible cramps one Christmas Eve and was unable to move or get out of bed. So to avoid my having to miss our Christmas, my mother gave me a couple of her muscle relaxers. Her really strong muscle relaxers. I tried to help carry in presents but ended up falling in the snow where I proceeded to roll around like an idiot and smash the presents I was carrying. Then I got inside and enjoyed a few glasses of wine and made sure I talked to every single relative I could about everything and anything inappropriate. Finally my uncle was able to figure out what the heck was wrong with me and made sure my crazy talk was contained and I was babysat for the remainder of the night. Our house was robbed while we were out. Everything, presents, furniture, TV, jewelry, family memories, everything was taken. This was before the internet, in 1987, where people could post their horrific stories and have hundreds of people be kind to them, so we went without any place to sit, any presents or tree, anything really. I was only 10 at the time, so it was pretty traumatic. I hated Christmas for a while. That is horrible. So sorry you had to go through that. Not really horror, but when I was about 8 or so, this is one of those vivid memories. My mom brought home the Christmas tree home and left me with my sister and said, "Honey, I am going to get the decorations. Be nice to your sister." So I went to the bathroom to find a box of tampons on the toilet. Not knowing what they were, I assumed the strings on the end were for decorating a tree. I took every tampon from the box and decorated the tree. Needless to say, Mom came home and was shocked. She'll tell that story at your wedding. My friends and I found a really cool vine back in the woods and it was a blast pretending we were stunt men swinging over the small ravine it hung over. It turns out the hairs all over the vine should have been a clear indicator that it was poison ivy. Yay for Christmas in the hospital. My Christmases were great, going from house to house opening my presents. I would always get tired when the other families would come to open their presents. That's why there were never any presents under our tree, because the other families already came and got theirs. I am not aware of that tradition, Mac. In fact, I think that you and your parents were just stealing from that home. I think it was Christmas Eve or thereabouts. I was young and my dad was out of town for business, just mom, my brother and sister, and I at home. I was playing with a $50 my uncle got for me that year and my mom went to change my diaper. She lifted my legs up and the coin slipped out of my hands and made a beeline for my mouth. I apparently tried to swallow it and it got stuck. Then with my brother on the phone, he was 7 or 8 at the time, with 911 my mom does the Himmlich SP on me and, lucky for me, out comes the coin. What they don't tell you is with that move most of what you just had for dinner can come up as well. With that crisis over, my mom put us to bed. Shortly after she went to bed herself. At one point she woke up hearing what sounded like thunder. Seeing nothing out her window she went back to sleep. About an hour later she wakes up only to see and hear fire ripping through the window above her bed. At that point no smoke alarms had gone off. She rushes and wakes us kids up, gathers me up in an Afghan, and runs for the door. Now we lived in the back half of a duplex, so she makes sure to get the other resident out because she apparently thinks she can fight the fire that is making her drapes look like waterfalls in Hades. We run down the street to a friend's house. I can still remember the rain AMD seeing flaming jeans flying over the fence. We get to the friend's house and call 911. While we huddle there my mom waits for the firefighters to come. They ask for her keys so they can move her car away from the house, which is now fully in fire. She tells them that the dog was left in the kitchen and fortunately they were able to get him out. The fire is put out but the house has been gutted. We are left with the clothes on our backs and the bears the fireman gave us on an early Saturday morning with almost no cash. Banks were no open on the weekends back then. Well, my dad gets back and my siblings go to school that Monday. I go to my babysitter's. When my mom comes to pick me up my sitter hands her an envelope that says, "Merry Christmas," inside is 10 brand new $100 bills, which gave us enough to get a hotel and everything until we could get to the bank and sort everything out. We never found out who helped us out, but that is our Christmas story. I could go on about the hotel and all, but that is out of the scope of this question. Also, forgive some errors, I'm tired and in my phone. TLDR. I almost died twice Christmas Eve. Final Destination comes to mind. My sister and I had this orange kitten we named Milo, and, like all kittens, Milo loved warm places. So, when Dad fired up the Cadillac on Christmas Eve to go and buy a couple more last minute presents for us, Milo was sitting on the warm engine and his head was ripped apart by the fan belt. Dad felt horrible, but there was nothing he could do. The cat died instantly in a whirl of fur and rubber, and there was no way he could have known the cat was in there. Our Christmas morning surprise was a dead kitten. Or, if you prefer the abstract version, Santa ran over my cat with his sleigh. Haha. We had kittens that like to do that, too. One of them spent nearly 50 kilometers driving the motorbay of our neighbor's car. They only realized it when at their destination a very familiar and extremely confused dirty little cat was crawling out from under their car. Secret Santas of Reddit. What's the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals, maybe ever? Bought someone £20 worth of chocolate, general limit is a $5. Received a cabbage. They proceeded to ask for the cabbage back. Sure, you can have it back. Right up your butt. I did a Secret Santa with a club at my school. The budget was around $35 for my person. I went all out and basically got them a bunch of items they wanted and listed down on their paper. The person who had me gave me a takeout box filled with broken cookies. Worst part, those cookies were leftovers that she took back home from our Thanksgiving party we had a few weeks ago. That's trashy AF. I went to a high school church gift exchange, and this butthead who considered himself a poet scribbled a poem on the back of a Walgreens receipt. To add insult to injury, he wrapped it in another Walgreens receipt. Nobody realized it was a gift until the end, when one poor girl thought she got left out. Imho, she would have been better getting left out. When she opened it, the guy kept telling the whole crowd how he had been working on the poem in his head for a while, and how lucky the girl who opened it was. He made her read it to the whole room, and the cringe was tangible. He had opened a Nerf gun earlier, and would shout when people tried to steal it from him, perfectly within the rules. His dad was the preacher, so nobody felt like they could do anything. We never had another gift exchange. What a freaking dong. I found a Lego Christmas set, still in box, from the year the giftee was born. They collected Lego, and mentioned that sometimes they just collect them in box and keep them mib. So I thought it would be a fun gift. Miraculously managed to stay under budget, except for shipping. They also managed to get me, and didn't get me anything. It would have been forgettable, except they kept bringing it up every week or so, until they finally bought me lunch by bringing in an energy drink and a bag of chips. This one made me really sad. You did something really thoughtful, and instead of admitting they blew it off, they did that. I'm sorry. At one of the schools I used to work at, it was basically tradition that you participated in Secret Santa, both staff and students. But the main thing was that this school apparently transcended the boundaries or some deep quote crap, because you could be matched with anyone. Teachers with students, students with students, students with the janitor, anything. So, for 3 years I got students I didn't even know, and got them stuff based on asking around. 1 year, I got matched with a student in one of my 11th grade classes. Score: the kid was a known huge Pokemon fan. After a week of prodding around, listening in on conversations in class and walking by during breaks, I finally heard him telling a friend that he really wanted a Ditto plushie. Boom, it was within our set budget, $30. So I got it. The kid was ecstatic. I got a bottle of liquid butt fart spray. The only acceptable response is to spray the Santa's stuff with the spray as often as possible. I have a friend who is terrible at gift giving. He is so absent-minded and last minute about things like this, and also refuses to care about materialistic things. Which good for him, but if you're participating in a SS you are supposed to be thoughtful to your giftee. It's not about you. Anyway, the first time we run SS, he gifts his giftee a full boiled egg. The worst part is he passed it to her prior to be gift exchange, so she ate it while waiting for dinner, and only found out later that was her gift. The second year he gave his giftee a book in a language she doesn't read. It was most certainly a book he plucked off his shelf. The third year, he gave her a coffee tasting experience. His friend owns a cafe. She doesn't drink coffee. This year, we'll see. We've all warned him to put effort, etc. Place where I used to work did one of those gift giving games where you either got to pick a new present or steal one from someone else. It was a hideous idea, but all the presents were just goofy little things. I had the last number, so basically my pick of any gift. Right from the early stages, I joked that I'd be taking the dog's playing poker serving tray. People kept stealing it back and forth. It became a running joke throughout the whole game. When it got to the end, I did exactly as I said and went and took the box that had the serving tray in it. That person got up and picked whatever the last remaining gift was. Seemed satisfied. Later, after they'd left the party, I went to open the box with the serving tray in it and found out they'd only given me the empty box, had hidden the tray in their coat, and taken 2 presents. Even the next workday after the party, that person was all like, "Hahaha, got you, you got an empty box, dumbass." That person is a ginormous butthole. The school where I teach does Secret Santa every year. I quit participating after about 5 years. For 5 years in a row, I bought thoughtful gifts for my recipient, based on what they put on their list of likes not likes. For 5 years in a row, the person who got my name totally got me nothing. I freaking hate this. It's voluntary. Why the heck participate if you're not going to participate? At my previous company I was in charge of the Secret Santa for 100+ employees. I was given permission from the CEO and VP to buy 5 extra emergency gifts in the event someone who volunteered never provided a gift. Every year it never failed, but we always made sure the person receiving an emergency gift didn't know they were forgotten. It was a $20 Canadian budget and my recipient asked for earrings. I spent the day in my downtown area looking at shops before settling on a pair I was cut a good deal on. It cost me $19.99 before tax. I asked for a set of pens. Nothing fancy, just a set of pens I needed for school. I got a $2 Dazo Turkey Christmas hearty wouldn't be caught dead in and a package of toilet paper my Secret Santa probably just straight got from her bathroom cupboard. Hey, on the bright side, it's not every day you get to literally wipe your butt with a crappy gift. When I was around age 5, our babysitter did a Secret Santa for all of the kids. I gifted my Secret Santa a Barbie doll. Mine gave me coupons for Hardee's, which is a fast food restaurant, where her mom was the manager, and not even for a free burger. It was like $1 off of a burger. At 5 years old, I was not buying my own food. I cried while watching the others play with their cool toys. This was the worst gift in my history of receiving gifts. I did Reddit Secret Santa. Bought a gift for someone. Sent it. Other person said they sent one. Never got it. Signed up for the get another gift cause I never got one group. They said they sent it. Never got it. I don't do Reddit Secret Santa anymore. In high school we did Secret Santas. One year the quirky boy in the group had me. He didn't have the gifts on hand the day we exchanged, so I was literally sitting there at lunch giftless while everyone opened theirs. He brought mine in a week later and it was basically an assortment of Christmas home decor, a Santa ornament, some weird crucifix, and I forget what else. It occurred to me years later that he probably couldn't afford an actual gift. It occurred to me years later that he probably couldn't afford an actual gift. That made me sad. My group of friends did a Secret Santa. I spent a lot of time putting together a box with lots of things you use when baking for a friend who, would you believe, loved baking. I got nipple tassels. Sounds like you got the better end of the deal. Probably over 10 years ago now, in middle school, I coordinated a Secret Santa in my friend group. So of course I went hard off and got my Secret Santa a great gift, within the budget limit around $15 if I recall correctly. The time comes to swap gifts, and one girl announces she got everyone a small something. I can't remember exactly what, but I think it was like a small pencil and notepad, probably about $1 each. I thought that was sweet. Turns out she had me for Secret Santa, and didn't get me anything besides what she also gave to everyone else, so essentially I got nothing. I don't actually care. I'm just floored at how clueless some people can be. Never coordinated a SS again though. We had a gift exchange several years ago between my wife's cousins and all of their significant others. The guy I was gifting for is a lot like me and is into board games and beer among other things. I was able to find a game that normally ran for $75 plus dollars on sale for $50. $50 limit for our exchange. In addition, I made him a double growler carrier using my woodworking tools and spare lumber in my garage, so practically free aside from my time investment of about 8 hours or so. It turned out pretty nice and professional looking and I was really proud of the overall gifts. The person who was supposed to bring a gift for me ended up not showing up to the Christmas celebration and promised to send me a gift. After 5 years, I am beginning to think I won't be seeing that gift. I spent a long time thinking up something for my work Secret Santa. She was a bit odd, a bit quirky, but I knew she loved these weird doll things, so I found her one and some accessories to go with it. She gave me some paper napkin rings her son, age 4, made at school. We had a £20 budget. Girl, there better be a £19 check at the bottom of this box. Not Reddit Secret Santa, but one organizes through a Facebook group. I bought this guy a beautiful Legend of Zelda print and he bought me a box of hot chocolate K-Cups from Aldous. I don't even have a Keurig. Funnily enough, I met him recently and he told me how much he loved my present and how he had it hanging up in his room. He asked me how I knew he liked Zelda and I said I looked at his Facebook page. There was a very long pause and he said, "Oh, Dart, I didn't think to do that for you. I hope you like hot chocolate." It was pretty funny. He wasn't a bad dude, just completely clueless. Yeah, at the very least he wasn't being malicious, just absent-minded. Probably has a Keurig and thought everyone has them, lol. My ex-husband's family always pulled names. His uncle got me and decided to not buy me anything. I had to sit while everyone else opened their gifts and try not to cry. Gifted a $25 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. $25 limit on gift. Person I exchanged with got me a $20 gift card to Sonic with $7 on the card. Still used that $7 though. Giving a used gift card is low as crap. A senior level guy at my company ended up being the secret Santa for a low level employee at my job. The two of them normally wouldn't interact, but he engineered running into her at the coffee machine or whatever, had some chit chat, and found out she liked African wildlife. So he got her a little collectible figurine of a gorilla or some sort of primate. When she received it, she immediately took it the wrong way, thinking it was a comment on her Afro-Caribbean heritage appearance, and went to HR and filed a complaint. It became a whole big thing in the office, and after a couple of days of hoping it would blow over, the senior guy went to HR and said it was him, based on a conversation about wildlife. The junior person was reminded of this conversation. She realized the gift came with only good intentions. Everything blew up entirely unnecessarily, and that was that. Except the senior guy was so mortified that things were so misinterpreted that he quit shortly thereafter. I thought this was going to be a story of a senior level employee getting a crappy gift for a lower level employee, but he was so sweet and thoughtful. This ending is so much worse. Was at a work white elephant. Saw a bunch of cool gifts pop up and rotate around. Alcohol, a breakfast set of special bowls, spoons and a variety pack of cereals, etc. Someone walks up midway through and opens a half-eaten bag of chips. Like the person opened a bag of Lay's, realized they didn't have a gift, folded it shut and wrapped it in Christmas paper. The witch hunt lasted an hour with our boss chipping in $25 to the chip gift person. They took it on purpose from the one who opened it. In 5th grade my class played Santa is Mean and each person brought in one gift. For those of you who know, in Santa is Mean there is one difference. After choosing a present, people that come after you can choose to take your gift and you'll have to get another one from the pile. Long story short, one kid brought in an empty tissue box that had some scribbles on it. I got that one after my original one was taken. One time I bought a crappy gift for a secret Santa. It was a big year for Himalaya pink salt, as in I'd never heard of it until that year, but everyone seemed to talk it up. So I went to a Ross store and found a pink salt grinder for a dang good deal. Bought one for myself and one for a secret Santa. I was so excited until the dude opened my present. The look of disappointment on his face while everyone else was opening up blankets and card games and other goodies. I'm so sorry, random dude, I didn't know. I thought the salt was cool. It was a randomized secret Santa, mind you, but I once gave a bottle of wine and got back a box of tampons. I'm a guy. My former church had a women's group. We didn't do Secret Santa, but we did a $10 gift exchange where if you brought a gift you got a gift. I didn't like this system because the ages range from mid-20s all the way up the 70s, so it was hard to find something that would appeal everyone. For the Christmas party I bought this necklace and earring set. The necklace was an aqua-colored stone in a hexagon shape, small and on a 19-inch change. It had a little bit of sparkle, but it was understated and I figured both young and old would like if the earrings were post that matched the necklace. The next year I got the same set back in the original box. I'm not mad at the gift, I'm just mad that they didn't keep track of where they got it from. Maybe they figured you liked them since you picked it out. I mean, I'd probably be upset too, but we gotta work on positive thoughts. I once tried to give a really funny gift. That was kind of the idea. The dollar amount was set low, so get creative. I had the best one, all packed into little wrapped units in a big Disney Frozen gift bag. Unfortunately, the person who took it from the pile wasn't one of the usual loud funny guy. It was the quiet girl, the only woman in an office filled with men, and she was super quiet and hardworking. Didn't seem too into all the joking and goofing around most of us did. So I was pretty worried when she opened it. First thing she pulls out, winter gloves. Not bad. It's cold here. Super practical. Next item, a ski mask. Okay, kind of weird, but might wear it when it gets really cold. Next, rope. Okay, maybe it's for tying down ski equipment. Then a roll of garbage bags. This seems super weird. Finally, a toy gun. It was a freaking crime kit. Thankfully she really enjoyed it. She kept the gun to threaten us if we got out of hand around the office. Oh, there was also a gift card loaded into the gun. I liked your story a lot. It's so wholesome and funny, especially since so many of the other stories are depressing or rage-inducing. P. Every year we do Secret Santa with my so's immediate family. Usually we'll buy each other practical or consumable gifts, like wine chocolates. 2 years ago my so's aunt bought me a terrarium science kit where you have to go outside and scavenge for the bugs you add to your terrarium. I'm a late 20s female who hates bugs. When we got home I realized that the kit had been opened before and partially assembled. I'm 90% sure she took one of her, now adult, child's toys and re-gifted it to me. Things like this make you want to say WTF and just chuck it in the trash cause nobody else would want it. I received a stolen Sears gift card about 10 years ago, made for an embarrassing hassle with loss prevention at the cash register. In year 4 we had a Secret Santa with a $2 minimum, $5 max, and I got a 20C pad and paper. Dumbass didn't even take the price tag off. The entire class got cool gifts and I got a stationery. Oh, that's cold. I remember one girl in class received a packet of Milo. She cried. We did a Secret Santa type game with my work a few years ago. I forget what the game was called, but pretty much you could steal someone else's present, but each gift could only be stolen twice. One of the women, who honestly no one liked but she was good at her job, brought her husband along to our Christmas party and they each brought a gift, so they both got to play. The price of the gift was supposed to be $20. Most of had bought really cool gifts like a heated car seat cover, gift cards, travel coffee mugs, holiday decor stuff. All the stuff the employees had brought met the $20 mark, except this bee and her husband. They had got these terrible smelling $1 candles. One of the girls, who was a student and was honestly pretty broke, had bought a $25 Bluetooth speaker and ended up with a $1 candle that smelled like cough syrup. I wasn't well off at the time either, but seeing the disappointment in her face was too much for me, so I stole her candle. My boss ended up stealing the other one because all of our employees were good people, except the woman who brought a $1 candle to a $20 gift exchange. I threw that candle away before we even left the party. You are a Christmas hero. The posts on Reddit Secret Santa made me drop $100 a couple years ago, kind of expecting something similar in return. I got one of those $8 crappy fleece throw blankets that are too small to be comfortable. $50 worth of goods local to Michigan, plus shipping to Germany for a Amazon gift card worth €20. You can't buy anything there and ship it to the US for that much. I remember it being a Secret Santa for the swim team back when I was 11 or 10. Instead of making each person pick a gift one at a time, they decided it was best if everyone rushed at the table at the same time and whoever grabs what first gets that gift. Unknown to everyone else, one girl handmade an ornament for the Secret Santa and it was destroyed in the chaos of kids grabbing gifts. I remember her crying, holding her broken gift. To be honest, if the people in charge made us grab a gift one at a time, that would have never happened. I do remember getting a big tub of candy, which was awesome for me cause my parents rarely allowed me to have candy. WTF. That's not a Secret Santa. That's the beginning of the Hunger Games. Poor kid. I've only done the Secret Santas they had us do in elementary school, but the one that sticks out was in 3rd grade when I received a hairbrush set, which would have been fine, except the kid who got it for me was like, so now you can actually brush your hair. I just have unruly, fluffy hair. It made me feel like crap at the time. Not me, but this poor girl in middle school band class got a giant bag with nothing in it but one tiny clip-on earring. The teacher didn't even let her complain about it. My husband does Secret Santa at work, and this year his Santa put all joke answers for the questions. I told him he should buy one of those reversible sequin pillows with Jeff Goldblum's face revealed underneath because it cracked me up and kind of matches her answers. I mean, it's a hilarious gift, but I'm worried she may hate it. He can include the Amazon gift receipt though, so hopefully that's a consolation. In middle school our homeroom class decided to do Secret Santa and we each received a list of the person's likes and dislikes. I got my person a bunch of art supplies as they said they liked to draw. When the teacher gave out the presents I received nothing. She pulled me and another girl aside at the end of class. The girl dug through her bag and gave me a tiny bag of animal bones that we had all received earlier that week, dissecting owl pellets. Okay, this one is a pretty bizarre one. I got my Secret Santa a $20 Godiva gift card and I didn't even like her. My Secret Santa got me a toy car because I like cars. Cost $4 tops. Karma got him though because his Secret Santa got him a flask that said I got 99 problems and a beer's one while his girlfriend was sitting next to him. He made him read it out loud. She didn't laugh with us. Once did this in high school. I gave a generous present I would have loved to receive. In return I got nothing. My teacher recognized this and the next day gave me a CD from one of my favorite bands. This will always stay with me. She was a lovely person. Getting a gift card for $1 less than the agreed Secret Santa amount. Presumably the dollar covered wrapping paper and the small Christmas card it came with. $20 minutes 30 max when I was working my high school job at McDonald's, located in a Walmart. I gave a phone case to someone who just got the new BlackBerry Storm. I got a pack of tank tops from the Walmart, itchy and a size too small. McDonald's and a Walmart. Most American place I've ever heard of. Instead of my yearly bonus, our boss enrolled everyone at the company into some kind of club that sends you jelly each month. Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year round. My old job a couple years ago, I'd gotten really close with my freshly immigrated Chinese co-workers and they were stoked for their first Secret Santa. They got thoughtful gifts for their people. My female friend got a really nice gift. Her Santa consulted her department co-workers. Adorable cat print mittens and scarf. Male co-worker, Sin, received his gift a week late, with his name spelled as Sean, and it was a candle. Not even a nice candle. I'm not knocking candles as a gift for what it's worth. I've given them myself. Normally the standard I don't know WTF to get gift is a Tim Hortons or liquor store gift card, which is guaranteed to at least be re-gifted if not used. He acted really pleased but I was so sad on his behalf. We worked in a big thrift store, 35 of us in the warehouse and then a dozen cashiers. Not a lot of mingling so the kid who got his name didn't know him, but still. For the Reddit avatar TLA exchange I got someone a pretty decent gift that I spent a good bit on. I ended up getting an Uncle Iroh action figure from the movie that shall not be named. Uncle Iroh action figure. Oh. From the movie that shall not be named. Oh. Reddit, what's the best, or worst, last minute gift you've ever given or received? This was probably 22 years ago. We were done unwrapping gifts, and to be perfectly honest I was a little bummed out. Sister had a huge stack of gifts. I had hardly anything and as any 10-12-year-old you'd be a little bummed out, right? So it was about 10 or so in the morning, as we were cleaning up. I sat there thinking hard as to how I might have been a bad boy that year. Wasn't long after all heck broke loose. Dogs started barking, and some dude was out in a Santa suit driving a skidoo around the house. We lived out in the country, so lots of open space. Everyone acted all surprised, but mom and dad were in on it. They had bought me an old Safari 377 and stashed it down at my neighbor's. On Christmas morning, the neighbor dressed up as Santa Claus, drove it down the side of a road a couple kms to get it to our place. Hands down most memorable last minute gift I ever received. I used to get hand-me-down consoles from my cousins growing up, but one year I got a new copy of Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation from an aunt who was making a stop by our house and didn't want to come empty-handed at Christmas. One problem, I didn't have a PlayStation. My parents used to get the Sunday paper and every week I would stalk the ads and check out the PlayStation. Its price had changed from $150 to $129. And I suddenly got it in my mind that I could do $129. I cleared driveways, mowed lawns, walked pets, watched kids, watered flowers, weeded gardens, fixed bikes, planted trees, mulched beds, and saved my way to the $129 PlayStation. I walked into the store with exact change, went home, plugged in FF7 and proceeded to have an spiritual experience playing that game. I still remember the sound and feeling of that opening sequence. I didn't even know what an RPG was. Best present ever. For my birthday one year my big present was a disposable emergency rain poncho. A hedgehog exercise wheel. I do not own a hedgehog. A few years ago my so and I were finally in a suitable position to get a dog. So for her birthday I got her a book on dog care. I didn't realize that she would think this meant I also had a dog hiding, ready, in waiting. I did not. Disappointment was large. I have to. In high school, an older friend and I were doing a gift exchange. We were keeping it under $10. I got her a very pretty glass Christmas tree that had some candy in it. She gave me a book, a smut novel, that had her mom's name written on the inside cover, but poorly scribbled out. I can understand if she didn't have the money, but the whole gift exchange and budget were her idea. The other one was from my sister-in-law. She gave me a Wii Motion Plus controller several years ago. Not a crappy gift on its own, but her reasoning makes it a crappy gift. We had mentioned months before Christmas that we might give her our Wii because theirs was broken and we never played ours. Then Skyward Sword came out. We got cracked out on that and decided to keep the Wii. Christmas rolls around and normally we got small, inexpensive gifts from them. So when I opened a $50 plus controller, I was shocked. Grateful, but shocked. Fast forward a few weeks and she brings up the Wii. We told her that we were into Skyward Sword and had decided to keep it. She replied with, "Ugh, dude, if I knew you were going to keep it, I wouldn't have gotten you the Wii controller. I only bought that because I thought I was getting it back." I didn't know my little cousin was coming over for Christmas until I was already on my way. Everything was closed but Walgreens. Went in and saw a Sega handheld that had 30 Genesis games on it like Sonic. It was $20 and he loved it, but his parents got mad because he didn't like their stuff and played with my gift all day. In my family, a certain apple slicer has been regifted 3 times over the span of 10 years. It's like they wait until they think everyone's forgotten. About 10 years ago, my great aunt gave me a hairbrush set containing a mirror, a comb, a large paddle brush and one of those round barrel brushes. Only, when I received it, it was missing the round barrel brush. I know that the brush was in the original set and therefore had been taken out, because I was with my great aunt when she won it at a Christmas raffle a couple of days before. I have received a bag of ketchup. Not some silly little condiment pack, but a 5-pound commercial bag of ketchup. You would not believe how satisfying it is to hug and cuddle with that much ketchup. Secret Santa gift exchange at school. Everyone else got cool stuff or beautiful handmade pieces of art. I got a small box of cut construction paper from the teacher. Merry Christmas, here's a box of trash. I didn't have any time or cash, so I bought a $2 photo album and photoshopped his face to a bunch of stock photos I found online. Made him laugh for hours. I saw a recipe on Pinterest for a chocolate cake in the jar and decided to make it. Mine looked like I had shat in the jar. Since it was last minute and Secret Santa, I had to go with it. Needless to say that the poop jar became the joke of the night. I learned that day never to trust Pinterest or my baking skills again. Last Christmas my husband procrastinated until 2 days before Christmas, and because he hates trying to figure out gifts and shopping he just decided taking me on a surprise trip to New York was easiest. I loved it, but I totally know his thought process and how it happened. He thinks he's slick. Ugh. Last year my husband and I were out buying groceries on Christmas Eve and he said he had to make another stop and I should wait in the car. He came back out with a travel mug and just said, "There you go. Merry Christmas" to me. When I was around 8 or 9 I had a sneaking suspicion Santa Claus wasn't real and I decided to test it. The months leading up to Christmas my mom kept asking me what I was planning to ask from the big red guy and I always answered, "I can't think of anything I want to ask for." This kept up all the way to Christmas Eve and as I was being tucked in that night I said, "I've decided what I want Santa to bring me, clay." My mom started telling me that Santa had already left the North Pole and it might be too late. I was having none of that and said, "It's something small. Santa can do it." Well, Christmas morning comes along and I wake up to an abundance of beautiful, colorful clay. I asked my mom about it a few years back and she confessed she stayed up all night making that clay from an online homemade recipe. I ended up believing in Santa Claus way longer than any kid should have thanks to my amazing mom. Not really a last minute gift situation, but rather a gifting experience. I was at a dinner party with some of my dad's friends at the time. I was probably early high school age. Everyone was an adult except for me, and the hosts had arranged a secret Santa exchange. I opened my gift, which was a very nice bath set. The person who had gotten me definitely had gone over budget. A woman at the party, maybe 40 years old, opened her gift, which was a small coffee maker. She spent the rest of the night pressuring me in front of everyone to trade with her because she didn't like her gift. I felt so bad. I didn't know who had gotten her that gift, but I'm sure they knew she didn't appreciate it. I very proudly and with great ceremony presented my mom with a clumsily wrapped box of tampons, which I'd taken from her bathroom cabinet, in front of all her friends. A 4-year-old nude fig had not really gotten the hang of presents yet. 30-year-old nude fig is still living it down. You gave her the gift of a great story. My university class is very small, and last year we did a secret Santa. I got a half-empty pouch of tobacco. I would have honestly been happier receiving nothing. My brother once owed me $300. For Christmas that year my mom gave me $300 to erase my brother's debt. Guess who also got $300? My brother. He essentially got $600 for Christmas and I got money that was already mine. Sounds more like your mom gave you $300 for Christmas, and he still owes you $300 and oh look, he just got $300 from your mom so he could pay you back. That or fork over another $300 mom. My grandma is the worst person to buy for. She's kinda stubborn about doing things the old, hard way, even with Hermes. She complains every year that we get her things every year because she's trying to get rid of so much stuff in her house. It's unselfish, but still annoying because come on lady, it's Christmas. Anyway, a couple years ago I was at Target, and they had one of those monthly planner calendars for $1 that had Mickey and Minnie Mouse on it. I know she loves Mickey Mouse so I picked it up on a whim. I figured, dumb gift right? It's a calendar. Turns out she loved IT. So the next year I got her a candle and a calendar, and the year after that, and the year after that. Every single year since she tells me I don't want you buying me tons of stuff. I have too much stuff, except for my calendar. That's the gift I look forward to every year. My grandmother is 93 and has a house full of the things a 93-year-old widow has plenty of and doesn't need anymore. She gets cheese straws, saltwater taffy, and other consumable things that you don't have to find a permanent place for, and loves them. Food is great for people like that. One Christmas a couple years back my half-brother and his girlfriend had spent the night. Christmas morning comes and his girlfriend is incredibly excited. My parents and I open our presents first, then she opens hers. My brother had gotten her some bits and bobs, but the one thing I do remember is that he got her this gorgeous silver necklace. My brother opens his presents last, and as we're about to disperse his girlfriend tells us to wait and hands my brother a small wrapped box. He unwraps it and it's this small leather thing, what you'd usually put jewelry in. My brother opens it and he's just stunned. Inside there was a pregnancy test, a positive pregnancy test. His girlfriend was giddy. Now, the frick up lies with the fact that my brother is infertile. His testicles are plastic. When he was 19 he had testicular cancer and had to have his testicles removed. My brother also doesn't like talking about that period in his life, for obvious and other reasons. So after over a year of dating he'd still neglected to tell his girlfriend about his artificial nuts. He lays the box on the ground and turns to his girlfriend and goes, "Babe, what the frick is this?" And his girlfriend's face immediately drops. She rushes to his side and goes, "We're gonna have a baby." At this point my brother's face is red and he pulls away from her, and then gets up and leaves. She turns to us and goes, "What's his problem?" My dad then, quite aggressively, goes, "He can't have children because his testicles are artificial." The girlfriend goes as white as a sheet. "They're what? Plastic? He had cancer and they were removed. He can't have kids." I'd say you could cut the awkward tension with a knife, but it was so thick you'd need something a lot sharper. My mom can't look the girl in the eye and my dad looks like he's about to snap. She rushes off into the kitchen after my brother, and within seconds there's just shouting. She vehemently denied cheating on my brother, and tried to pass it off as some sort of miracle, though he wasn't having any of it. He took the necklace off of her, and she went upstairs to grab her things and left without saying goodbye. I haven't seen her since. The reason I'm telling this story is because a year later my brother gave the necklace to his new girlfriend as a present. The cheap bastard. My buddy baked me a cake one time but with one piece missing because he had to make sure it was good. Like I knew he was stoned and couldn't help it, but it was still a pretty endearing bro on bro gesture. ShamWow towels. Sorry mom. I was in a train coming back from vacation when I realized it's my dad's birthday. Bought him a pack of Oreo cookies from a vending machine. I still feel bad about this. This was around when I was 13 or 14 in 1998 or 99. Growing up I knew the household spending limit for Christmas was $150 per kid. Only 2 of us. But I really wanted a new computer. I begged and pleaded for one and my parents would joke and tell me no. Christmas morning came, I walk out of my bedroom and see a huge gateway box. I run to it to waste no time in setting it up. But it's empty. My parents laugh at my disappointment. I didn't expect a computer because I knew they were way past the budget, but I was holding out hope. After my parents got me with the 30 seconds of laughing, they told me they really got me a computer, it's out of the car but I have to go get it. Best Christmas present ever but horrible way to give it. I usually go with gift cards for giving last minute gifts. It's weird, I feel bad and unthoughtful about giving someone a gift card, but I like receiving them a lot. My brother owed me $40. Guess what I got for Christmas? $40. Hey, at least he paid you back. My sister once gave my wife an expired Bed Bath & Beyond coupon for Christmas. My grandmother gave me a pineapple wrapped in newspaper. She told me she didn't use real gift wrap because it would just take away from the value of the real gift. That same year my brother got a Discman from her. She had favorites. I don't get how people can do this in all good conscience. At least my grandma hates us all equally, so none of us get gifts. My girlfriend found a barely used shoe polish kit in the closet and wrapped it and played it off as a new purchase. It had originally been gifted to me by my ex, and the original birthday note was still tucked in the box. I had one that started as worst but ended as best. An envelope with no card in it, but rather $10 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets, but then one of them won me $100. For my sisters and my birthday last year, our aunt bought us a 6-pound bag of frozen meatballs. They were wrapped in the Trader Joe's bag. We were expected to share them. She told us that our dad, piece of garbage, said we liked them. We really had no opinion on meatballs, but these things looked gross. Yeah, not the dream gift of 2 teenage girls. My brother got me those fluffy car dice for my 18th birthday. They were so cheap and nasty, half the dots were already missing. On Christmas Eve, I realized I hadn't gotten a gift for my niece, 15. So I went to Barnes & Noble and bought Stephen Hawking's book The Universe in a Nutshell. I selected that book because last holiday Thanksgiving, my niece kept going on about how black holes prove God doesn't exist, based on this one episode she saw on the Discovery Channel. I figured if she was going to rant about theoretical physics, it'd be great if she actually knew what she was talking about. I got grief from my mom and uncle because I spent too much on the present because 1, I could have gotten it cheaper on Amazon if I'd thought to buy it earlier, and 2, she doesn't deserve a $40 gift. Nobody likes my niece because she is loud, opinionated, and disrespectful to elders. My niece loved my gift and always had that book with her for the next 6 months. One of my friends borrowed a pair of socks from me, then gave them back 2 years later as a gift on Christmas. I discovered Easter Bunny wasn't real when my dad handed my Easter eggs to me in a plastic shopping bag one year, with the receipt still in the bag. I discovered Santa wasn't real when Christmas morning the stockings were empty and the gifts weren't under the tree. Quoting my grandmother, "Oh darn, I forgot to put out the presents." Okay, I had the perfect gift for the perfect kid. A couple of years ago I won a kid's bike in a raffle. It was one with everything. Flying handlebars, big seat and a custom rainbow color paint job. So I have this kid's bike in my trunk. And a lot of people asked me, creeped out, "You don't have children. Why do you have a kid's bike in your trunk?" And I told him the story. 2 years passed and a friend of mine called and told me a friend of her had a fire in their flat. And almost everything burned down the day just before the kid's birthday, and it was a Sunday. Normally shops are closed on Sunday where I live. But he remembered I had a pristine child bike in my trunk. So I drove to the hotel where the family was staying and gifted that little girl the bicycle, and boy, I will never forget the eyes of joy when she first rode that bike like she just won $1 million. That's almost 10 years ago. Thanks for the reminder. She showed up with a bottle of Jigger and a box of condoms. Grandma knows how to party. One of my closest friend offered me a clock radio, but a very special one. It is a space shuttle with a timer NASA style. And guess what? After the countdown, the space shuttle randomly fly in my bedroom. I love it, and my son not really. Not me, but hard to beat this one. Back in 1950s, my father and his brother were kids, and poor. Their grandfather gave one brother something shiny and awesome and new. I don't recall what. I imagine an airplane. My father got a small wooden box containing a hard-boiled egg and a used, worthless, stamp. Thus a family legend was born. Peas. Yes, the grandfather was not nice. You have been visited by the Pope doggo. Comment 4 times and he will bless you with lots of good luck. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.